These are the 5 biggest mistakes that you will make when an avoidant ghosts you. The first is chasing them for answers. Bombarding them with texts or calls is only going to make them feel that they need more space from you. And I know that you're doing this because you feel like you need to continually have that connection to them, because you know when it comes to an avoidant, they typically thrive in this environment when you give them space, and there's a part of you that's afraid that they might just simply move on. But when you do that with an avoidant, this is going to make them double down and feel that they are correct for distancing themselves from you in the first place. And that's why you tend to see the more that you try to do this, they will continuously push further and further away from you. It essentially reinforces their belief that closeness equals pressure, and that's something that they are trying to avoid altogether, because this is something that is a threat to their emotional well-being, because they have grown to believe that this is a negative thing because they've adopted this way of being with not having that experience from their caregivers. So while you're doing this with good intentions, they don't see that and they see it as a negative thing. So essentially, the more that you chase them, the further they are going to run from you. The second thing is demanding instant closure. Now, I know that this is something that you are expecting as a bare minimum because of all of the things that you have done to try to work with them and show them that you're committed and doing everything that you possibly could to try to make this relationship work. So of course you're trying to get that closure from them to just understand what went wrong, or is there anything you could have done better, because that's what you believe is going to essentially help you to move on from this relationship essentially. But when you try to do this, avoidance will shut down when they feel that they are being pushed emotionally for clarity. And this is something that they're not going to give you the answers that you deserve, right? They are essentially going to work around this and just be more distant, or even if they're going to answer the question, it's not going to be what you expect. And even if they were to answer the questions, they tend to be very vague and not really anything in depth, which is only going to make you more frustrated. So while I completely empathize with you and understand where you are coming from with trying to get this, it's important to understand that this avoidant doesn't have the capacity to do that, because this is going to cause them to have to feel vulnerable and deal with the emotions that's going to naturally come up when you are trying to get closure. Because if it's done right, you both are going to express how you felt about the relationship and your downfalls and all these different things, which is naturally going to cause you to have all of these different emotions and reactions. And that's something that they know they can't control, so they want to avoid that altogether. So when it comes to this specifically, the most important thing that I want you to remember is that closure doesn't come from them, but what it does come from is you and putting your own boundaries as to what you do and don't want to experience anymore. Which leads perfectly into number 3, and that is venting your hurt directly at them. Sending angry texts or emotional outbursts will only cause them to want to withdraw from you even further. And I know that you are doing this because you are hurt and you are so frustrated with their lack of commitment or effort into trying to make the relationship work, and just kind of taking you along this emotional roller coaster and not really telling you deep down what is going on so that you can make your own decision as to whether or not you want to be in the relationship. So I get again what you're trying to essentially do here and get them to hopefully see how this is hurting you, but this is going to only make things worse, because they again are not going to respond the way that you think they are. They're only going to continue to believe that they were right with pulling away from you, because you are forcing them to feel those emotions and to deal with things that they don't want to deal with, and you're doing too much in that moment in their eyes. And I want to assure you that your pain is 100% valid, but pouring it on them won't bring them back, and it's only going to cause them to essentially continue to run this avoidant attachment style and to try to continue to push away from you. Number 4 is waiting endlessly for their return. putting your life on pause keeps you stuck in their cycle. I know that there's a part of you that believes that you're getting the space away from them and you can heal while still being connected to them and trying to see if the relationship works. But this is essentially not what's going to happen because you are still attached to them. And the reality is that you're waiting to see if there's a chance of them wanting to reach out to you, which will probably happen, right? Because when it comes to an avoidant, once this avoidance cycle has run out, they will tend to reach out to you because they do genuinely want to be in a relationship with you typically. It's just because of this avoidant attachment style and something that you're doing that's causing them to be triggered, which is not on you, it's on them, but they interpret it as a threat and they continue to keep pushing away from you. But you have to understand that when it comes to anyone in this world, you cannot control how they're going to respond or the actions they're going to take. So while you are waiting around for them, this could be a very long time because this avoidant could maybe just feel like they want to just avoid this relationship entirely, and you could just be left in limbo while they're essentially doing the things that they want with whoever they want, and you are just waiting to see if there's a chance for the relationship to work, which is prolonging your healing journey and is going to cause there to be a lot more problems because you're not dealing with the emotions that are coming up and grieving the relationship essentially so that you can heal fully. And the most important thing that I hope you can remind yourself here is that every day that you wait is a day that you delay your own healing. And this is something that I want you to remind yourself again each and every day that this may come up, because that's essentially what is going on here. And the more that you can get on board with that and understanding that, the easier it's going to be for you to start to realize these things and prioritizing yourself to figure out what you need to do, which segues perfectly into the fifth and final thing, is that forgetting your worth in the process. I know that there's a part of you that is so fixated on working with them and trying to do everything that you possibly can. And you've probably grown accustomed to just being in this cycle for so long to believe that you essentially were the problem this whole time, right? You've been beat down, whether this avoidant has realized it or not, to think that you don't have what it takes to be a perfect partner for them, or there's always something that you're doing that's too much or not enough. Whatever that's running in the back of your mind, this is something that becomes very predominant within you without you really knowing a lot of the times, because you've gone so long being in this state. While I understand that you have tremendous love for this person and wanting to have the relationship work, and you can see the potential of the relationship if this avoidant attachment style was worked through, it's important that you remind yourself that you are worthy of your own love and wanting to prioritize yourself and your boundaries, because you've been neglecting yourself this entire time. And I know that this is hard to hear, but it's the truth, right? Because you have had to do that in order for the relationship to work. You've had to walk on eggshells. You've had to do so much compromising of yourself in order to try to make this relationship work. And I know you've grown accustomed to this, so it might not seem as much of a bigger problem as it is, but you have to understand that you should not have to do so much work in the relationship while this person is not doing anything, right? This is important for you to realize this and accept it, because you are neglecting yourself and what you need, and showing that same commitment and love and passion to yourself and reconnecting with yourself, because you probably don't even recognize who you are anymore because you have grown accustomed to be the version that you are right now to make this relationship work. And this realization is such a critical factor, whether this person ends up coming back to you and you wanting to make the relationship work, or you go your separate ways, because no matter which one of those things happen, you need to prioritize yourself and figuring out what is best for you and meeting your own emotional needs, because you've done enough. You sacrificed enough, and you shouldn't have to sacrifice and put so much effort into trying to make a relationship work. It should be as close to a 50-50 split as you possibly can be, and it shouldn't be that one person is completely neglected while the other person is getting everything that they possibly could want. So I know that this is very challenging, and I don't want you to bash yourself if you're experiencing these, because this is something that everyone goes through, but in this moment, you have an opportunity to realize this and accept it slowly, because again, this is not going to happen overnight. So don't beat yourself up if you are still struggling with this. This is completely normal and it's going to be a process. But it is so crucial from this moment on that you try your best to prioritize yourself and understanding what is best for you, because that is what matters. You need to show yourself the same love and commitment and care that you are trying to give to them back to you. And whether or not this person comes back into your life, it's so important that you understand your own needs and wants and rediscover yourself while building your boundaries back up so that you can make sure that you don't experience this again. I hope that you did enjoy today's video. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.